Yes, I'd like to tell a story about my son, Joshua David Dillard. I adopted Joshua when he was 6 years old. He was a special child, had lots of problems. I guess they would call him special needs at this time. He had fetal alcohol syndrome, attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, he had lots of issues about being left alone because he was abandoned by his mother at a daycare, and she never came back to pick him up, him and his sister. And he went through several homes before I ever got him. Joshua ended up at 15 years old going into TYC, Texas Youth Commission, and he had taken a stun gun to school. And when a police officer came one day, he wasn't going to go to school the next day, and the police officer came to take him to school. He kicked him in the groin, and he ended up in the juvenile system. Well, when he got there, I was having a lot of problems with him because he had been to Shoal Creek a couple times. He was acting out, and that's when I found out he had temporal lobe seizures. He would go into a rage, fall down on the floor, fighting, kicking, try to hurt you, and then later on he would be apologetic and calm down, and it was I thought he was having temper tantrums. I didn't know what was wrong. And when he ended up back in the prison system, he went to different units and had mental problems, and had attempted suicide a couple times, ended up in the Montfort unit, a psychiatric unit, and eventually he ended in South Texas at Kennedy. And December the 24th, I was able to go see my son for the first time in a long time because he was able to be at a unit close enough to me that I could go and visit him. I had financial problems and didn't have a vehicle that would get long distance. So I borrowed a truck and I went down to visit him. We had a wonderful visit. On the 28th of December of 2006, I got a phone call at 10:34 p.m. and it was Chaplain Burke, from the Connolly unit, and he told me, he said, "Your son is dead. He committed suicide, and his body has been taken to UTMB, and you can call Huntsville Funeral Home in the morning." Well, I was devastated. He called me on my cell phone. I was driving down the road. It just blew my mind away. I didn't know where to go, who to talk to. It was the middle of the night, and the next morning I started calling around trying to find out where my son was, what was going on, and couldn't get any answers. I found out he was at UTMB for the autopsy, and he was supposed to go to the Huntsville Funeral Home. Well, it took me over a week to get my son home. Well, when I finally got my son home, and I got him the next day, we had to bury him because he was in such an area of decomposition. They called somebody in, and they kind of put him back together, so I was able to see him. And all of this was done so wrong, I wanted to speak out. I could let my son die and not do anything about it. I could complain to my friends or cry in the corner, or I could change things for other people. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to change it so nobody else was contacted in the middle of the night. Nobody else had to search for the body of their loved one. Nobody else had to have a body come back to them in that type of a shape. And I wanted to speak out and let Joshua's story be known. So that's why I came to the Texas Civil Rights Project. I feel like the prison system they need more advocates for the prisoners that are in there. People get so caught up that they committed a crime and they need to be where they are, they forget that they're a human being. And my son was loved by me. He might not have been loved by anybody else in this world, but every person in the prison system is loved by somebody. A mother, a father, an aunt, an uncle, a sister, a cousin, whoever, even a friend. And they need to understand that these are people too. They committed a crime and they're doing their time, but they shouldn't be chastised for the rest of their lives. So TCRP has given my son a voice. I don't plan to let this end here. I want to be able to change it for other people. If I need to talk to legislatures or whoever else I need to talk to get it changed, I'm ready to fight the battle.